Soldier life in Civil War was harsh as well as difficult. Many soldiers spent days marching on dusty, humid roads and had to fight against the diseases that were often spread throughout soldiers. Day and night he was under orders, spending a majority of his time in camp drilling. A private's reminiscences of the Civil War, Theodore Garish recalls a time spent too long in camp and writes, "One of the most disastrous features of the gloomy situation was the terrible sickness of the soldiers. Men were unused to the climate, the exposure, and the food, so that the whole experience was in direct contrast to their life at home." To escape these struggles, soldiers found ways to amuse themselves. Many soldiers enjoyed playing sports such as horse racing, and baseball was especially popular around camps. Every encampment and most of the companies had their own one-piece baseball pattern. Terry Blewett states, "They would get a walnut and start wrapping it with a yarn until the cut horse hide would fit around it tightly. Then they would sew it up and have their baseball bat for the games. Oak limbs were cut and carved for bats." In camp, music helped the soldiers break away from the destruction in the war. Soldiers of both sides often engaged in recreation with musical instruments. And when the opposing armies were near each other, sometimes the band from both sides of the conflict played against each other on the night before a battle. Bernard quotes, "In camp and hospitals they sang sentimental songs and ballads, comic songs and patriotic numbers. The songs were better than rations or medicine." For soldiers' uniform, local militia units that had their own uniforms wore them as they came to join the Union or the Confederate armies. Some Union units wore gray, while some Confederates were attired in blue. Primarily, however, regular U.S. Army troops wore their traditional dark blue trousers, jacket caps.
Was baseball only popular with Civil War soldiers, or perhaps did anyone else other than the soldiers enjoy it?
It is true that baseball was popular around Civil War soldiers, but the president also enjoyed playing baseball, and generals actually thought it was good for soldiers to play baseball since it strengthened their health and also gave them a break.
Did this unsanitary soldier camp's life affect the soldiers in any way?
Yes, in fact, many soldiers died from diseases and germs rather than dying from bullet holes. There were lyses and many died from drinking unsanitary water that contained germs that were life-threatening. Some of the common diseases were typhoid fever, malaria, scarlet fever, etc.
What were some activities that the soldiers played during the Civil War?
When given free time, many soldiers read books, letters, newspapers, and Bibles, etc. Some also played various sports.
What kind of instruments did they play on march?
On the American Civil War battlefield, different instruments including bugles, drums, and fifes were played to issue marching orders or something simply to boost the morals of one's fellow soldiers.